Hello and welcome to another special edition of the Heron Outlet here on YouTube. I am joined by my friend here, Ian Hest, of course, another co-host of the podcast and the YouTube channel. And we're here today to talk about a rough topic. I would say it's one that has been happening for 3 years now. It's something that has been a huge disadvantage for a certain fan base of Inter Miami. And I mean, we're just going to have to jump right into it. In the last match against Chicago, that was away from home. The Inter Miami streaming app went down. And the reason why that is so important is because that is the only way that fans in Palm Beach County are actually able to watch Inter Miami matches without my TV 33 or without Unimas. And in my opinion, personally, it's extremely unfortunate to not be able to cater to that fan base. And we have a Palm Beach County resident in Ian here, of course. So he was there at the thick of the problem. And I will say, Ian, on July 4th, I dealt with this. I don't know if you remember, but I was up in Palm Beach County on July 4th, and I wasn't able to get the game. So it was extremely difficult for me against FC Dallas. And if you look at the tweet that Inter Miami put out when they said that the app was not available, you look down at the comments and you see all these people from Palm Beach, unfortunately, expressing their concerns with this. And I guess let's just get it from you. How this needs to be changed, right? And we know Apple TV is coming next year, but for the last 3 years, it just seems like they've neglected this issue. They've let ESPN Plus black out this certain area because it's within the range. And you would think that if they knew that that was happening and that was the only other way to stream the game, that they would find a better way other than an unreliable streaming service on their own app to figure this out. What what was needed to be done, because I don't think there's going to be anything fixed for the end of the couple games that we've had this year, and we're going into Apple TV in 2023. But why is this such an issue?
Yeah, so the first things that people probably need to understand, and it probably will come as a surprise to people in South Florida, is that there are two different television markets. There is the Miami Fort Lauderdale market, and there's the West Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast market. So basically, right at the dividing line between Deerfield Beach and Boca Raton, those are two completely different television stations. Your CBS affiliate, CBS 4 in Miami, there's a CBS 12 in West Palm. Your NBC 6 in Miami is channel 5 up here in Palm Beach County. They are two different markets, two different anchors, two different sports people, weather people on your local news. Everything's different. So just like that, My 33, there is a CW channel up here in Palm Beach County that does not have the same rights that My 33 or Unimas have for the Inter Miami game. So that's really where this problem exists. Now, the way that ESPN Plus looks at it is that Palm Beach County is still, rightfully so, considered a local market. Therefore, it's blacked out on ESPN Plus. That leaves this sort of void, right? Because people who were in Tampa were saying, well, it's fine on ESPN Plus. I have no problem. People all across the world could watch it on ESPN Plus. There is this only pocket of Palm Beach County where you do not have it on local over-the-air television, and you are blacked out from it on ESPN Plus. That leaves the only option for fans to stream it on the app, because you can't even do it through the website. You stream it on the app and then would have to cast it or HDMI or screen mirror or however you would be able to do that in order to watch it. And that means that any restaurants or bars in Palm Beach County can't show any Inter Miami games ever. You can only get it where you have Wi-Fi in your home, and you would need to cast it that same way. So so that's what people from Palm Beach County deal with every single away game, right? Or every single game, regardless,
Right.
home or away. That's the only way that people in Palm Beach County can have it. The reason that we're talking about this now is because the app was not working for the entirety of the Chicago match in what was such a large match, where people, and it was on the road, so it wasn't like people had the opportunity to go to the game and they were too lazy. This really left everybody who is a fan in Palm Beach County without any opportunity to watch the game in a place that consistently, if you look, is a top 10 market in the country in soccer, in EPL, in women's national team matches, in men's national team matches, in World Cup matches, in international friendlies. It is a top 10 soccer market. That's without Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Broward, Dade. That's without all those people. Just West Palm, Boca, Delray, Boynton, etc. That in and of itself is a top 10 soccer market in the country. which is why it was a little disappointing. We can get into other reasons of why that was disappointing too.
Yeah, and another thing that I remember too, when I wanted to go back and watch a certain match, I don't remember exactly which one it was, and I went to ESPN Plus, and they usually put up the replays. Can't even watch the replays either. Like, so that's another reason why. So nobody from West Palm could actually have watched the Chicago game.
I followed along with you and Alex, and that was the way that I was able to follow the match, and just through discussion with you guys. It was very, and at that point you have to make a decision, right? Do I start driving down to Broward? What if the app it starts working? Where am I going to how am I, right? There's so much confusion there as a game is already happening that you're already playing behind the eight ball there.
And I think from a logistics standpoint, to have the app be the one-stop shop for viewers in Palm Beach County to watch is a little bit I don't really know the word for it. It just doesn't seem like they thought it all the way through in the last couple of years to say, if this messes up, then what? Then what happens to these fans? And that's kind of exactly what we're experiencing right now with the Chicago match. And who knows what if it goes down the line? I mean, I would say that they're definitely catching a break in terms of Apple TV coming in. There will be no blackouts, yada yada yada, and they'll still have certain local coverages that way. But with Apple TV, you should be fine. However, it's been 3 years, Ian. I mean, and for any fans that are up there, granted, I live in Broward County, so I'm right in the middle. I have the sweet spot. I have the stadium 5 minutes from home. I have all of these wonderful things, but there is like you said, a large selection of fans up in Palm Beach County who are unfortunately not able to watch one of the biggest games that Miami have had this year. And granted, where they lost in, but imagine they pulled off some dramatics. Imagine they pulled off a huge win. Imagine having to go through all of that and not being able to see it. I mean, what does that do for the fan base in West Palm?
Yeah, and it's frustrating, especially, and I think that I don't want to just harp on one word, but they did send out a tweet saying that fans could still watch locally on My 33, and it's a poor choice of words, but it does encapsulate, I guess, a little bit of the concern that fans in Palm Beach County have, is that they're not considered local fans. And if it's a situation like this now, what happens when the stadium moves to Miami, right? Now they're still 20 minutes to a half hour away from the stadium. When it winds up being an hour, are they really going to be forgotten about? We saw this already with the Marlins fans. So Palm Beach County fans are used to this. With the same thing happened with the Marlins. I guess the difference is that soccer is so heavy here in terms of even your rec leagues and the,
right.
the youth leagues,
the academies, and the club teams.
Yeah, that there is such a soccer hotbed here. There's a large international, large European, fan base here that has a lot. There's a ton of, people know the soccer pubs. A lot of them are up here in Palm Beach County, and so there is this feeling of like the forgotten man, of the not feeling represented, and the fear that once the stadium moves, it's really like any leverage of a Palm Beach County fan having right now to be able to say like, hey, hi, we're here, we'll go. That's gone when the stadium is in Miami. And so, let's try and look. I don't want to just harp on the negative. I would like to say, I would like this to be like a learning experience for everybody, for fans of Palm Beach County to like be able to say like, oh, look, we do have the representation here. For the club to say, okay, like local means all of South Florida. That means the people in Homestead, and that means the people in Jupiter, and really create a sense of a South Florida soccer community. And for us to all come together around it, I think would be the best case scenario. Am I pushing a pipe dream? Perhaps. But I do think that this was a good opportunity to show what, that not all things have been created equal in this situation. And for all the talk, I know that because you talk with a lot of fans, and a lot of fans in Miami are like, oh, we drive so far to go to the games at the stadium. Yes, but there are different strokes for different folks that are being involved in this situation. Case in point, what we saw against Chicago.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of things that are going to be addressed, I'm assuming, in the next coming years, especially with the stadium being built and the new TV deal and all this kind of stuff. So I think you can forget kind of the negligence of it all and just say, you know what, they're moving forward, they're getting past it. And as unfortunate as it has been, you kind of hope that it doesn't happen again. But that's the problem, is that you have to hope it doesn't happen again by the end of the year. And I think that that's been the issue for the last
And
couple of seasons.
we're all going to be in the same boat come 2023, because if Apple TV goes down, then everybody's.
Then we're all screwed, right? Then we're all screwed. Yeah. With that said, I mean, it was an unfortunate happening in the Chicago match, and I mean, Ian, I can't even. You have to come over to my house and come watch the game with me on ESPN. Like, I don't know how. Like, I have to record it or something.
Myself now. Yeah, it's great.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, this has been an unfortunate edition of the Heron Outlet, but something that we thought was extremely important, and Ian wanted to bring to everybody's attention. And I think that it was important to have some of the people's voices heard from Palm Beach County.
And not for nothing, I think that what has been so great throughout all of this, throughout the course of the creation of this club up until now, is to see how many times that I've been out in the community, you've been out in the community, to see fans, that are on Clematis Street in West Palm, that come from Miami just because they want to see a different game, and fans from West Palm who go down to Brickell, to Fritz and Franz or something like that, to go to these different places, to go to the Fox and Hound in Fort Lauderdale, to go to all these places and bring this whole South Florida soccer community together. And it's been very cool to see everybody sort of find some fluidity, instead of saying, my home is Boca, or my home is Kendall, or, we're the real fans. That gatekeeping doesn't do anybody any good. So I think, if anything, what we can learn from this is to bring this whole South Florida soccer community better together.
100% agreed, and hopefully Inter Miami can be the ones to do that, and as they have been the last couple of seasons. With that said, we're going to wrap up here. Make sure you go check out the podcast on all your podcast platforms, or on this exact same YouTube channel in which you're watching this video. There is a game as we're recording this on Monday. There's a game against Columbus on Tuesday night. We'll be recording twice this week, so stay on the lookout, and we will see you guys next time.